Right, hi everyone. So today I decided to sort of set up the gear for a little podcast episode. I've never really done this before, but this is going to be a first try, and I hope it goes well. So this is a podcast on definitely something I would say will reveal, or will at least tell you what kind of political leaning I have, although it's not I wouldn't necessarily say this is a political issue, but I do want to discuss some of the elements in part of becoming the sort of narrative and the general discourse of politics and society today. Just, this is the weekend and I've been sort of lazing around. I've actually just gotten better from a really nasty sort of viral bug or viral fever. I think that's the better way to say it. Yeah, I just got better, and generally you just want to lie in bed all day and go through YouTube videos, which is exactly what I did for most of the day today. It's a Sunday. And so I pretty much, I'm a big fan of all these sort of contemporary commentators, they happen to be political commentators because they do express socio-political beliefs in their discourse, but I generally do follow a lot of them, and they do tend to happen to be people who are conservative in thinking. And generally because of that becomes a baseline for their political leaning as well, which is not to say that I am in that area as well. I think that's very wrong and very dishonest for me to say that, because I'm not actually. I don't really like labels, and I don't really tend to want to associate myself with a particular leaning, but I do take some of their issues to heart. I mean, they have actually raised some very contentious and very, very good points and arguments. I don't agree with all of them, but those that I do agree with are very, I think, profound, very profound to some of the issues that we're, discussing today, generally having a dialogue. And so, with that said, today what I decided to talk about in this first episode is to talk about free speech. And I've been watching a lot of videos produced by these conservative commentators, and they tend to push this idea that however ironic it seems, that the left is generally, they sort of lump a lot of these people as just one group of the left. And it's not that I'm agreeing to this stereotype, but just for the sake of this podcast and for the sake of me explaining, I'll just say it as that for now. So they lump all these people into this one group as being the left progressives, or more aptly to their sort of description would be left progressives, because of the idea that they have this collective thought where parts of speech generally should be protected, and because of that it really it's completely the opposite of free speech. I mean, you can't really have, which is one thing I do agree about, is that you can't have free speech if you're going to have some speech that is protected. And I think they do go as far as going back to because a lot of these commentators, they're Americans, so they go all the way back to the very foundations of what America was built upon. It was built upon this shared understanding that the citizens, people, will have the ability to stand up for themselves, no matter who is in power, because of the Constitution, because of the amendments made